Alright, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever the time is where you are. I am Chris Sweetleaf, and this is my little 1998 Nissan MICRA K11 first gen facelift. And I've had a little lockdown project going on. This is the original door card, which looks, fairly terrible and kind of your granny's curtains type carpet going on. Also, you can see that the plastic is sort of sun faded quite badly. So I've gone from that to this. I'm now going to take off the driver's side and show you exactly how I did it. Okay, so step one is remove the top half of the armrest. It literally just pings off. It's just little spring clips go into those little rectangular holes. It's just a case of just grabbing it, a little bit of a tug, but not too hard, and that should just pop clean off. You've then got the electrical cable, just push down on the center release clip, and that should just pull out of the socket quite nicely. Then got to undo 1, 2 and 3 screws, and then just pop off, I think there's about 7 or 8 if I remember from the other one, little plastic clips holding in around the edge. And the bits we're going to repaint black are going to be this bit, so I'll take the whole switch mechanism out with those 4 screws. That comes clean off. Clean this up because it's and then this top section again, clean it up, spray it black and a bit clear coat, and then the inset, as I've done on that one there, there's a little clip holding it on the front, kind of goes that way, so just want to pop off the little clips which are about there and there, so I can just pull the whole thing and then hopefully just kind of slide it that way, slightly get that front clip out, and the whole thing will come off. Okay, so that's the 3 screws out. See, there's a nice cigarette burn mark there from the previous owner. I'll cover that up soon enough. So just get your hand between the door frame, find where the resistance is, and hopefully, I'll do this one-handed. There we go, ping. And there's one popper. Should be another one about. Should be another one about there, and then all the way along the bottom. Again, it's a good idea to kind of not over yank it, just in case you break anything, but they should. You can see the hole. There we go. They should literally just pop out. Right. So yeah, it's just a case of getting a thin flathead screwdriver just over the top of the little handle cover. You can see there's that little plastic clip there. There's another one on the bottom, and they just literally sit, you can see, into there, and there's the other one up there which I'm going to show. And then yeah, you can see this bit here, it just kind of little lip that sits forwards. Once you got the top and the bottom free, just kind of sliding it that way a little bit till it's free, and then out it comes. Then once you've got all the poppers off, and there are 2 kind of quite high as well just behind the plastic trims. There's one there and there's another one about there, but once you've got all of those off and you've got the handle trim off, you should then, there we go, have the whole thing completely free. If you can kind of keep it flat, so try not to pull it out like that, but actually keep it flat against the door, and then if you just gently push from the bottom corner, that should then release the top bit, and if you're lucky, give it a wiggle, and there you go, one door card. Okay, so we're now going to take the door card apart, ready for cleaning. You've got this strip up the top which is plastic, and then the arm and the door pocket and the speaker cover, which is all kind of one big kind of section of plastic, but they're all held on turn it round, they're all held on with these little screws in the back. So you just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you've got 7 screws on the back holding the top plastic plate in, and then a whole bunch more. 1, 2, 3, 4, quite a few. One thing to note is that there are some locating holes. So when we recover, I have to make sure that there's enough gaps, and I'll show you how I made the holes in the first one as we do this one. Okay, so that is the door card completely dismantled. I've got the armrest handle there. I've taken out the electric window switches. We've now got this, and you can see just how grimy that is. So I'm going to give that and that and that a good clean, and then take them outside for spraying. And then again, this I'm just going to wash down and get that as clean as possible. Previously I'd thought about maybe actually removing this completely and then putting the new stuff on, but it was just such, I mean, it's been heat strips stuck right the way across and across there, and I mean there's a bit of glue, and around the back you've got some staples. On the other one, what I did was just I've opened it up and just trimmed it around the edges, so that then these bits here, I can then redo that with the new material, which I'm going to cover it, and I've literally just covered over the top. Right, so outside, nice sunny day. That is the handle cap cover, whatever you want to call it, that I've hit once with the black paint, and again the armrest and the top of the door frame. Those are the plastic bits that I've been respraying. I've been using Bumper Black because it's excellent resistance to sunlight and colour fade. So obviously we don't necessarily want it fading anytime soon. And I've literally just been a couple of coats of black, and then a clear lacquer on the top. And that's what I did with the passenger side, so that's what I'm doing on this side. Okay, so we've got the original door card here, fully stripped off apart from the plugs, but I'll get those off later once I flatten it down, ready to get it covered. But for now, just need to clean up as much of the dirt off it as possible, just so that when I put down the blue, like I say, originally I was going to try and just take this off completely, but where it's been heat sealed around in places, it's just not easy, and it's just as good as covering over the top. So that's basically what I did with the last one. That's what I'm going to do with this one. But yeah, trusty bucket of warm water, touch of fairy liquid, and the oldie scrubber. It's a nice bright sunny day, the birds are going crazy. So now I'm just going to let this dry off outside a little bit, and then also I'm going to start peeling these edges away. So literally they only use kind of half height staples. I'm just going to peel these edges back, and then just trim around the sides. The same with these bits, little door handle covers. So again, strip those away, just cut them off. The PVC that I'm going to put on, I can then have those tabbed over, stuck on. Plastic prop holders, so they kind of sit in the smaller hole. You're going to slide them off onto the big hole and then just off to the side, and then just lift. So those are easy to get out. So yeah, finish prepping this and then size up the PVC. Okay, so I've got this faux leather PVC tablecloth, believe it or not, but it's a nice thickness, and fits quite nicely. So I'll just get this roughly sized up. I'll flip it over, and I can mark out where all the holes for the speaker and bits and pieces are supposed to go. Okay, so I've got the door card front down on top of the back of the PVC material that I'm using, and then I've used pencil just to draw around the edge, give myself a nice bit of extra for the lip. I'm gonna flap over and stick on, and the top doesn't need to be to the top of the actual frame. If we just shift that up, you can see it's actually cut down below the screw holes for the top bit of trim, and then also, yeah, all of the, you can see all the screw holes there that I've marked out, and obviously the holes for where the handle, speaker, and that's for one of the mounting holes to screw the whole door card back into the door frame. But yeah, so that's the idea. I'm just going to roughly cut that out, and then cut out all the holes for the middle bits, and then turn it over, line it up, and absolutely nail it with some spray adhesive. Right, so the next stage is now cutting out all the holes. That there is for there's some padding that's behind the door pocket. Just helps to kind of hold everything in place. The way I've been doing it, literally just where I'm going to have to cut something out, just grab it from the middle like that, crease it up, little snip, and then you can get the scissors from the middle out to the edge and then cut it as neatly as possible. Okay, well, I've got about half of this stuck down, roughly about kind of the top half, because that's what was where the material is. Underneath that is just kind of this grey PVC, but yeah, when it comes to material and spray glue, there is no such thing as too much. So I've literally been absolutely nailing it, and then using an ice scraper just to flatten it down with a bit of pressure and keep it nice and neat, tidy. That's pretty much fairly well stuck down all the way around and around the edges where the cutouts are. That's got 2 layers of paint, 2 coats of paint, and 1 coat of clear lacquer on top, which isn't too bad, and that will sit roughly about there. Day 2, second attempt. There were just a few bits around the edges that weren't quite stuck properly, so I've just taken it outside and given it a damn good thrashing with some more spray adhesive. I think what happened, I had 2 cans of spray adhesive. The first one was kind of running out when I started, and I started on this edge. And then about halfway through I had to switch to the new can, and so yeah, I just don't think there was quite enough stick in the first can to get this edge done. But yeah, all the whole top line is nicely stuck down, the edges are stuck down. The middles, if it's kind of coming away a little bit, I'm not too worried about that, because that's going to be covered up by the plastic trim. It's also going to be screwed in and held down, so yeah. Okay, so now this is nicely stuck onto the front, which is great. There's no sort of edges sticking out or anything, as I said, where it's not quite stuck on the cutouts. I mean, that tab is going to be stuck around like that, and that one like that, etc. So that's not too much of an issue. But yeah, so now I'm going to start sticking the edges on. Because it's PVC, it's got a bit of a stretch on it, which is nice. So just pull it nice and taut. I'll probably, because it's got a curve on it, sort of about here, so I'll probably put a little snip about there just to reposition that round the curve. But yeah, it's just a case of some of that, a bit of all-purpose clear glue. I literally just kind of stick around a little bead. There's a line down there, and then as you flap it over, it then kind of smudges quite nicely onto the back of the fabric. And then that's what I used for the first one. 5 little bulldog clips. Then been chopping and got another 6. So now I can do a good amount of stick all the way down, and then clamp it in place, leave it sort of 5-6 minutes, and then shimmy round a bit further. I have worked out as well, the back of this chipboard it's got a real gloss finish to it, and the first couple the glue just was not taking nicely. So touch of sandpaper, rough it up a bit around the edge, and that will stick nicely. So we are now all fully stuck down around the edges quite nicely. That glue I'm using takes a good sort of 3 to 5 minutes to to stick properly. But yeah, having all been held down with bulldog clips. Get a nice crease down the side, and it's all nicely stuck. Isn't going anywhere. I'm just going to tidy up this edge, but that's the edge that is going to be covered up by the black plastic trim up the top, so it doesn't have to be too neat and tidy. But the last thing before I put it all back together, I'm just going to use a crosshead screwdriver and just poke through from this side where the holes are for the screws and the fixing mounts. Yeah, and then I can put the door pocket and everything else, screw it back on, see how it looks. Alright, so I've pushed through, marked out where the holes are from this side, and now I'm just going to take a pair of sharp scissors and just kind of open out each hole a little bit so that it's easier for the plastic screw holes to get through, and then I can put the door pocket back on. Quick note, when you're putting the door pocket speaker cover plastic back on, there's 1, 2, 3 and 4 kind of plastic locating pins that stick out. So you just have to make sure you can see where the screw holes are. There's enough of a hole in the material to get the screws through to the screw holes, but with these ones you just have to kind of wedge the holes in the material just a little bit bigger so the retaining pins can stick through the plastic markers, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, so then hopefully once that's all in place, I should now be able to get all the screws back in, and that will be door pocket back on to the card. Okay, so I've just tidied up that edge, bit of glue, get that down out of the way. As I say, it's pretty much covered by the plastic trim, which comes down to about there anyway. I've got most of the door pocket all screwed in, just screwing in this top bit of trim. Right, last but not least, I've put all the plastic poppers back in, which attach it to the door frame, and then of course the electric window switch, put that back into the armrest, and then we're ready to refit it back in the car. Right, so last bit, there is one door without the door card. That's the passenger door with the door card, and now I've just got to get this with that onto there. Right, so with a touch of wiggling around at the top, again starting from that end, get that end down first and then the rest of it eventually with a bit of jigging about, manages to get it slotted in nicely. And then we've got, you can see, there we go, the plastic poppers ready to go back in. They should all click in nicely. Click, click, and then just a case of finding the rest of them around the bottom and up the other side. I'll get the armrest on and the trim around the handle, and we'll be done. Alright, final few bits. Get the 3 screws back in. I've got the armrest plugged back in with the electric window switches. Again, little spring clips into the holes. Go front down. Should just clip into place. I think that's down, it's just because it's a bit tighter against the PVC material, which now needs a bit of cleaning, but there you go. And then, yeah, the last thing, just to button it up, little handle cover. I just had to kind of push the material just behind that part of the plastic fitting so that it can clip into that little lip where it's supposed to be, so hopefully, and then yeah, it's nice and free to get the plastic clips into the holes, so it should be that way round. Try and do this one-handed. There we go. So should be able to click, click, and there we go. That front bit's clipped on nicely. The only problem with black is that any bit of dust is going to show up. So I'm going to be dusting it fairly regularly, I dare say, but the fact that it's PVC means that it's nice and easy to clean. That is a vast improvement to what it used to be. Get the door to hold in place. Much, much cleaner. That's just brilliant. It's one of those things where you look at it and you think, why didn't I do this years ago? So that is the door cards, MICRA K11, looking proper tidy. Easy job.